All right, welcome back to our second lesson in PHP and MySQL programming. And before we move into today's discussion, we need just to go through what we had last time. Okay, so now we are basically still building the user authentication system. And our objective still remains the same. We want to understand and build the three core components of a secure user authentication system, which is register, login, and logout using PHP. So that is our main objective. And last time in lesson 1, we looked at the register.php. We looked at register.php and we finished up to the level of producing a proper code. We looked at data submissions, of which our major concept was how the browser talks to the server. As we all know to say, the browser, the server, and the database makes up the communication of PHP to be complete. So the browser has to communicate to the server, and the server has to forward the details into the database and give feedback to the browser for the client to continue doing whatsoever he or she is doing. So we looked at post requests and the method itself. The method itself, the way it is outlined, we looked at inputting issues of handling and validation. We moved on further to look at the security and hashing the passwords. And we all know to say for passwords to be strong, for passwords not to be exposed when the database is corrupt, or maybe I cannot say corrupt, when the database is attacked, we need to use what is called hashing. We should not just store plain text passwords. So we went further and looked at the database insertion, how now the hashed password is pushed in to insert data into the database. Today we are going to focus on the login process. How does the login process works? And we are also going to build the index.php in this particular course. That's what we are going to build. And basically, once we build that, we'll keep moving up to the level we want. So now, there is one thing that you need to understand in each and every program, in each and every system. Each and every system requires each page to be protected. Session checks are supposed to be made. So the whole entire concept in this particular part is we want to look at stopping login users from seeing the login screen. That's the major concept. We want to stop those users that have logged in to see the login screen. And the key term we are using is sessions. The sessions are the key things that, or it's a key term in PHP that we use in order to man this business. So session is simply how the server remembers a user across multiple pages. This helps us to protect certain users who have no authority to access certain pages. Example, here is a WhatsApp a WhatsApp admin. Okay, a WhatsApp admin has got properties of changing the name of the changing the name of the group, changing the name of or deleting certain functionalities, because he's got privileges. So when we get to other systems, for a person to view other pages, for an admin, for a teacher to view other pages, he has to be identified in the session headers. So this is how the code is written. You do if is set, then open brackets, then you put the session and the ID of that particular person whom you want to visit that particular page. If the session is not defined, meaning that person has got no privilege to view that page. So even the header down there is indicated of which page are we targeting. So the index.php should be able to have this session, the other page, which is maybe the staff, the account, the reports, the what. They should have sessions to define who should access that particular page. So if a teacher session variable exists, then the user is logged in. But if they don't exist, they will not log in. The moment they log in, automatically the system will take them to the dashboard. So you need to make sure that this is well defined. Protecting the pages is one important factor in system development and under PHP. Another key concept is finding the user. So here, the user has to be retrieved from the database. It has to be retrieved from the database using different values that you've set. It could be the email, it could be a phone number, it could be the NRC, it could be any other provisions that you have put for the credentials that are needed for someone to do what? To access a certain system. So now, there is a need of fetching data from the database, and the simple code that we use here has been displayed on the screen. It will select from the teachers where there is email, and you add the question mark. That is a query you are indicating to say, go and pick under the field email, pick the email that is there, link it to whatever the person credentials or passwords are. Then if they match, then let them have access. So in simpler terms, we use another prepared statement to find the row matching the email. That's the basic concept that we need to understand. Now, authentication and verification comes in play after the checking, after the finding the user has been done. So checking if the provided password matches the stored hash is one important factor in systems. So here we use a key term called password verify. So this function compares the plain text into the stored hash. This is where the programming is played very well, because this function picks the hash, compares it with the plain text that you have typed in your form. So it is only secure. This is the only secure way to check a hashed password. This is the only secure way. This is quite interesting. And the moment the password is verified, so these two things that we are just lastly discussing, we are finding the user and the password verify. These two are key components, very key components. If they're compromised, then the system will be very weak and vulnerable. Now, the moment the verification has been done, we need now to establish a session. If it has passed, we log in the user. The user will move in and have access to that particular resource that the user is requesting. So if verification passes, we log in, we log the user in, then logged in users will have the resources they need from that system. So this is achieved by setting session variables. If you can check from our simple code, it has indicated session variables that we have in this particular data. So the moment once it checks, verifies, and logs in, automatically the header indicates that sent to a location called dashboard.php. So this is simply a secure area for this particular person. The only part a person can view at that particular time. So these variables will be checked on every subsequent page request to ensure the user is allowed access to those particular pages. And this marks the end of the presentation, and we dive into our practical code that has already been scripted for us, and we need just now to work on it, debug, and check certain components that are not functioning very well. Let's just click on this particular resource so that we can see uh, where our work is. Okay, so let's just do this. I'm sure we still remember where we saved our files are. You go to the localhost or local disk C, then you go to XAMPP, the htdocs, then you check from assets, and we are looking for is it index login? Okay, we are looking for login page, and let's see how our login page is coded so that we move at the same pace together. We move at the same pace together. Okay. All right. Let's just wait. In as much as we are waiting for this particular resource to open, we need to think through how best can we make this course to improve from the level where we are now to another level, because these key basic components that we've looked at makes up all other pages, and these are the only most important parts. So how can we make our project be perfect? Look at ideas that you can put in so that at least we move at the same page. Okay, this is the first part we were talking about the sessions, and it is almost the last component that we were discussing. Okay, so now we can be able to see that this part from here going down up to here, this is HTML and a bit of some CS. Then when we look at from this part going up, this is what we were discussing. It's what we were discussing, and the pieces of code that were in the presentation are all indicated here. They are all indicated here. The authentication and verification is there. We can also see the issue of establishing this session, which we have been discussing just right away. We can see it. It's here. This is the code. This is a piece of code, and it's also here. We've indicated it here. So basically, all in all, the things that we have discussed have been joined together. Your task, because you are coming from a well-known program of HTML, which you did very well, you have now to just put your HTML down here as the PHP has been provided for you. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best as you continue the programming journey. Thank you.